Okay, this is day 40. This is version 9. This movie, Sum of All Fears with Ben Affleck and Morgan Freeman, is about uh, loose nuclear material getting loosened from Savannah River site in Charleston and then somehow getting to New York and being a dirty bomb. So, um, I just wanted to check these diplomatic containers so that didn't happen. Of course, the way the modus operandi is always come after the people who are trying to help, always come after the whistleblowers and then blame them for your crime. So I have more proof today, and one of the well, let's just go here. Let's just go to anytime you want to just look at the history of Twitter. You can see here where I've said Norm Ravenscroft right here from Transportation Logistics in 2004 writes a letter to for the export license for the Nuclear Regulatory Commission license in Charleston, right? And I printed the letter. I published the letter along with this. This exists now. There's a huge mop-up operation going right now. I can tell you that for the destruction of evidence. There's a huge lawsuit involved in this, but if you go here, it's gone, and then you'll see I tweeted it out a couple of times. It's gone. So this isn't going to change anything. This is going to come back, and it is going to be found out. Ravenscroft Logistics, if you want to look at this. So what is actually happening, as I've said, Charleston is the secret to the whole story, the port of Charleston. Here is where the Russian uranium comes in first in the megatons to megawatts. Megatons to megawatts is the program of taking this old weaponized uranium from the Soviet Union and bringing it into the United States. It starts in about, I think it's going to start in 98 for sure, with this U.S. enrichment company up here in Maryland, okay, that I'm very close to right now. So anyway, this highly enriched uranium looks like drum barrels. It looks like drum barrels, and it looks like a lot like dirt. It looks like a drum of dirt, and these barrels are going to be marked Russia. I am not kidding. Russia, Russia, Russia. I wish there was 3 Russias on the dirt barrels, but there's going to be 1 Russia. Okay, so that's how people here at this plant in Honeywell plant here in Metropolis, Illinois, that's how they're going to know that the stuff was from Russia. This isn't subtle. This is Russia, Russia, Russia all over the barrels. Okay, but the other thing that we get from this movie, Sum of All Fears, is a little piece of information. This shows how even movies can help inform this investigation. Here they talk about plutonium, and this plutonium being diverted in this movie, Sum of All Fears, and plutonium having a very significant fingerprint. I know Russian plutonium from American plutonium, and that is the metadata. Those are the footprints that are going to prove this case. They're going to prove they came through the port of Charleston. They're going to come here to the Honeywell plant here so that this dirt is turned into UF6 gas in these UF6 containers. And that is where you're going to have the contamination. This coming in, this uranium coming into the port of Charleston was never ever cleaned. The workers here were exposed. This is their Silkwood story now. The workers here were exposed. I've talked to several of them now. I'm working with Gary Vanderboe, who has a federal lawsuit. If you want to look up that lawsuit, it's Boegh, Vander space Boegh. He's the whistleblower. This is why I couldn't go to the Supreme Court today. And then he's also working with the Paducah plant, okay, which is this is where the gas spinning is. This is where one of the these are where the cylinders are, the turbines are, the centrifuges are to separate the good stuff from the bad stuff. Okay, but remember, this Russian uranium that's coming in has been down blended, so it's highly enriched uranium, been down blended. The problem is you're not supposed to bring it in without it being cleaned, and it wasn't cleaned. You're going to see all kinds of reports that we have from the Department of Energy that are going to show that these pipes, everything was completely contaminated. Of course, plutonium is incredibly radioactive, and you're going to have all kinds of cancers and so forth coming out of this. This is going to be, I believe, when you're reducing this uranium, You're going to have acids. First, you're going to mechanically mill it down. Then you're going to have all these acids, very caustic acids. That's radioactive waste because it's going to pick radioactivity up. It's going to be radioactive dirt, basically. I believe that dirt is going to end up at the transportation logistics site here in Kevel. They're going to hire a whole bunch of little tiny trucking companies to dump this stuff. And I've got the DoE, Department of Environmental Quality, documentation from Kentucky to show. So the deal was Durban will have your workers get exposed to the plutonium, and then we'll have the people in Paducah get exposed to the waste. Okay, and then it's going to be hiring these little trucking companies. The 2,000 different indictments are for people in these rat lines. Make no mistake about it. They're going to say it's an EB5 bust. These people are all brought in on EB5s when Hillary becomes the Secretary of State. But make no mistake about it, these are truckers. Okay, so one of the ways you now can search YouTube is use my name as a filter. So just say George Webb and then uranium, and then you're going to get a whole bunch of very appropriate different, here's me talking about Mueller and so forth. Here I am talking about transportation logistics up here by NSA. Is it an NSA cutout? Is it a Navy Intel NSA cutout with Mark Lambert? Is that their share? Is that the Chinatown, the yacht club at the end of Chinatown? Is that the secret there? Who knows? But there certainly are a lot of Mark Lamberts. There's a lot of Navy Intel folks. We also have Admiral McMullen from up there dealing with Haqqani from Pakistan, back and forth, doing these negotiations. So anyway, you see United States Enrichment Corps here. That's where Lockheed is. Okay, and you can see that. So I'm going to say right now that the person from Tennessee, this person that Jaquia knew was, I'm going to say Jaquia was used in a honeypot operation in Tennessee for this exact reason. Where the waste was being stored, and I believe that it's going to be Tennessee Valley Authority or Parkersburg where this uranium gets diverted. The FBI, I look at it from the FBI's point of view, your job is to keep track of this stuff. What I believe, instead of going to this plant here, this downblended plant, this was intercepted, this material was intercepted, and it's going to be going to New Mexico. Eventually, when Podesta builds his plant, this secreted material at the Y12, I'm going to say it's Y12 in Tennessee, is then secreted and reprocessed later at the National Enrichment Facility. So it's just a switch-out, change-out. Very simple. Rob the trucks, get the truckers to take it to Y12 here in Tennessee. Hold on to it because that's your resources for the future, and then you ship it out to New Mexico when you're ready. When you ship it out to New Mexico here, down in the corner, you bring over laborers from who knows where, but you bring over the laborers who get them who need a job. And then you get them all, I find out in New Mexico, which is Eunice right here. You get them a job, but then they get contaminated as well. So the only difference here is Hillary chooses to contaminate people from other countries. Mitch McConnell chose his own people that lived in his own state, and so did Dick Durbin. So this is the story, and it's happening, and it ties together transportation logistics and all the 2,000 Mueller indictments. These are all going to be covering up for McCabe. McCabe is the key guy here because you need to store this stuff. McCabe's in charge with NNSA of making sure that this stuff is always tracked, especially highly enriched uranium, and that's where it's going to be tracked. It's going to be tracked at Y12. So the other way you can keep going through here is just do yellow cake. You can kind of follow things along the way. I believe yellow cake now is more of a diversion than anything else. If you already have highly enriched uranium, what do you need yellow cake for? You just store it in Kentucky, and then when you're ready to ship it to weapons programs, you ship it out. Now, I think also beginning with the 123 agreement in 2010, I now believe some of this uranium is now stored in UAE. Now we'll see as we get into discovery. We'll see if that actually is true. But I know it's shipped here in the port of Charleston, and it's also shipped to the Navy Yard right here in Washington, D.C., because McAuliffe had to get his cut. He had to get his resources for the future because he wants to run for president. So everybody gets their cut, and that's what's happening. So, but you can use George Webb Yellow Cake if you want to see all the stuff I've done on Yellow Cake, or you can just do George Webb UF6, and you can see right there. There's Mark Lambert. Is it a throw? Is it not? Who knows? I don't know. But I'm talking about a lot about Mark Lambert and UF6. So I'll leave it there. More coming. Lots and lots of documents coming. Lots and lots of photos and pictures coming.